Hello and welcome to A Dad Reads with me, David. Now, I'm still on holiday at the moment, but I have got a story for you. It's called The Tale of the Valiant Ninja Frog, and it's by Alistair Chisholm and Jez Toya. Shall we read what it's about? The Tale of the Valiant Ninja Frog. The stars twinkled, the moon shone, and Dad, Jamie, and Abby sat by a campfire, cooking marshmallows. Tell us a story, Dad, said Jamie. Yes, a story, said Abby. What kind of story? Asked Dad. Oh, one with the prince, said Jamie. And the frog, said Abby. And the princess and the witch, said Jamie. Don't forget the frog, asked Abby. And, said Jamie, a monster. Right, said Dad. Ready? It was a dark and stormy night, said Dad. And at the bottom of a horrible mountain, in the shadow of a horrible castle, deep within a horrible forest, were the heroes. There was the prince and his horse, handsome, brave, and bold. There was the princess, cunning, beautiful, and secretly known as Molly, as Fingers Molly, daredevil jewel thief. And there was Boggart, the witch, magical, mysterious, and occasionally a ninja. What about the frog? Asked Abby. Oh, yes, said Dad. There was also the witch's tiny frog, just as big as your thumb, who she kept tucked away nice and safe. He's always being kept safe, complained Abby. Can't he be a hero too? He's too small, said Jamie. But he's very brave. Too small, said Jamie. Humph, said Abby. Our heroes, said Dad, were there because of a dreadful ogre named Grubber the Gruesome. Grubber the Gruesome was enormous. He had warts the size of plates. His hands were as big as tables, and the breath from his vast mouth carried the awful stench of broccoli. Yuck, said Jamie. I like broccoli, said Abby. He was a rotten meanie, said Dad, and he'd stolen all the keys to the kingdom. Without their keys, no one could do anything. They couldn't get into their homes. They couldn't start their horses. It was chaos. Like the time I accidentally dropped your keys down the drain? Asked Jamie. Yes, said Dad, exactly like that. Grubber had hidden the keys in a deep dungeon in his home. Castle enormous. But our heroes had a cunning plan. That evening, as Grubber sat in his parlour chuckling to himself about how rotten he was, there was a knock at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Who dares disturb me? Bellowed the ogre. It was the heroes. We're circus performers, they said. We're here to entertain you. Behold, said the prince, the incredible skills of Andrew the Amazing Horse. Andrew the Amazing Horse could do all sorts of tricks, such as standing on his head and juggling, said Jamie. Yes, juggling, said Dad. And walking the tightrope, said Jamie. Sure, said Dad. Why not? But while Andrew the Amazing Horse distracted the ogre, the princess and the witch sneaked past. The witch waved her wicked wand and shook her fervent feet. She hissed a crooked curse and glared an evil eye, and turned the dungeon door into jelly. Then the princess threw her gaping rope and leapt, and swung down down, down to the bottom of the dungeon. And there they were, all the keys to the kingdom. Wait, said Abby. What did Barry do? Who's Barry? Asked Dad. Barry the frog. What did he do? Oh, said Dad. Barry kept lookout. That's boring, said Abby. Barry never gets to do anything. Told you, said Jamie. He's far too small to be important. Hm, muttered Abby again.
The princess scooped up the keys, said Dad, and the witch hauled her back up. But then, suddenly, the alarm went off, shouted Jamie. That's right, said Dad. A huge clanging bell rang through the castle. And then Grubber ran after them and caught them all, shouted Jamie. He did, said Dad, in his huge, hairy fists. And then, said Jamie, Grubber roared. I'm going to gobble you up. Oh no, gasped Dad and Abby. How did they escape? Asked Jamie. Oh, said Dad. He stopped. He scratched his head. I don't know. I know, said Abby. Wait, I know, shouted Jamie. The prince fights Grubber. But Grubber's too strong, said Dad. I know, said Abby. Maybe the witch does some magic, said Jamie. But she can't wave her wand to cast the spell, said Dad. Stop! Shouted Abby. I know what happens. Barry the valiant ninja frog rescues them all. No, 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 sighed Jamie. He can't fight Grubber. He's far too small. Exactly, said Abby. He was so small that he could creep between Grubber's fingers, and then Barry, who was also a ninja, snuck around Grubber's back and then up onto his head. And Grubber stumbled about and lost his balance and fell over. And he dropped the others, and together they tied him up. And now everyone got their keys back, and they said, Thank you, Barry the valiant ninja frog. You have saved us. Because even though he was small, he was still a great hero. The end, said Abby. Wow, said Jamie. Good story. Well done, Abby, said Dad. Thank you, said Abby. Barry did most of it. The campfire had died down, and it was almost time for bed. Jamie and Abby snuggled up close to Dad and gazed at the night sky and the twinkling stars above them. What story shall we have tomorrow? Yawns Jamie sleepily. What do you think, Abby? Asked Dad. Abby looked at the stars. She said. I know! Space pirate bears! Of course, said Dad, and he took them into their camp beds and kissed them good night. The end. Now there was a lot going on in that story, because they was making it up as they went along. Do you ever make up stories? I think I used to when I was younger. I could still now. But did you see? The frog was really small and no one thought that he was going to be good for anything. But just because you're small doesn't mean that you can't do anything. And sometimes being small has its advantages. And in that case, it helped them to get free from Grubber. So don't let anyone make you think that being small is a bad thing. Anyway, that's the end of the story. I hope you liked it. Until next time. Bye for now.